Yeah, proceed, Your Honor.
Aileen Carol.
Sir, would you state your name, what your occupation is, and how long you've been employed in that occupation?
My name is Lawrence Horzepa, and I'm an investigator with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office assigned to the Major Case Unit, and I've been in that capacity for approximately 4 years.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your education and training leading up to your taking the position with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
I have 15 years of law enforcement experience. The first 10 were at the Broward County Sheriff's Office. For the past 10 years, I've been an investigator. I've had numerous training in homicide investigation, interview techniques, crime scene development. I'm a certified teacher in firearm instructing, also in driving skills. I've also had DNA instruction, officer-involved shootings. I've had specialized training in crime scene procedures, and
All right, and your current primary responsibility with the Sheriff's Office?
is with the Major Case Unit, we basically investigate homicides, suspicious deaths, and child abuse cases.
All right, sir. Did you have occasion to become involved as a deputy sheriff of the Major Case Unit involved in the homicide of Richard Mallory?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury when you first became involved and how you became involved?
That would have been back on December 13th of 1989. We had received information that there was a body that was found out in the woods, and it was right off of US 1 and I-95 in Ormond Beach. We responded to that area, and I met with two gentlemen who advised that they were out looking for scrap metal in a wooded area that was known to be a basic dumping ground, and that they had come upon a body that had been covered up.
All right, sir. Did you observe the collection of evidence and taking photographs as your co-workers and members from the medical examiner's office and others worked at the crime scene?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jury whether or not you did anything else at the crime scene that day?
No, sir.
What was your next activity of significance in the case?
My next activity was to go over to, I had checked with Bonnie Richway, who was a investigator over in Pinellas County. I had been in contact with her in reference.
Hold on just a moment. You're referring to the Mallory automobile?
That's correct.
All right, go ahead. You contacted someone concerning the Mallory automobile?
That's correct.
All right. Go ahead.
I had contacted her in reference to a vehicle that had been found earlier on December 1st by Sergeant Bonnevere. And it was my belief that the body that was found in the woods at that particular time may have been linked to that particular vehicle that had been found approximately 13 days earlier.
All right, sir. And with regard to this case, what did you do in response to that inquiry?
I then went ahead and had Detective Richway go ahead and send over some fingerprints for me. In reference to this, I worked with the medical examiner's office and Investigator Lau in order to go ahead and secure the identity of the body that was in the woods.
All right, sir. Did you have occasion to go to the scene where the automobile was found?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may the witness step down and address the matter?
Let's speak louder into that for the court so they can hear you also on Mr. Judge.
If you would, show the jury, please, first, where the body was found.
The body was found right approximately here at the shot where the number 1 is.
And where was the automobile found?
The automobile was located at the dot here with the number 4.
And for clarity of the record, Your Honor, you're testifying from State's Exhibit 7 evidence, which is a map of northeast Volusia County, correct?
That's correct.
Can you tell the jury by roadway how far it is from where the body was found to the automobile, and with your finger trace whichever roadway you as a Volusia resident would take to travel between the two spots?
From the position of number 1 to the position of number 4, I've taken US 1 straight down to State Road 40, came across, back up onto State Road A1A, and went back north. I'm sorry, to John Anderson, and went back up to the actual position of number 4.
Okay, you know approximately how great that distance is?
Approximately 13, 14 miles.
Okay. Is there another route to the north that may even go out of Volusia County that may be shorter? And I don't know that it is. Did you check that route?
There is another route, sir, off of Old Dixie Highway to Walter Borman, but I did not check that one.
From the route you took, you go down through Ormond Beach, cross the river, and back north on John Anderson. Is the neighborhood 13 miles? Is that what you indicated?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Your Honor, may the witness return to the stand momentarily.
Yes, sir.
Did there come a time that you developed information which the investigation of the killing of Mr. Mowry began to focus upon the defendant, Ms. Wuornos, in this case?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury how the information concerning Ms. Wuornos developed?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
And Your Honor, may we approach the witness momentarily and be certain we have the ground
Yes, sir. I
established?
think it might be safer to.
Thank you.
Yeah. Both counsel. Can you turn the mic off, sir?
Mr. Arnson, can you turn it back on? Thank you.
Have a seat, counsel.
Your Honor, may the court, if the court wishes, advise the jury that we're acting under court order, we're supposed to witness and talk to them secretively like that. That's not meant to keep anything from them.
Yeah, we're not trying to keep anything from you. The witness is prohibited from discussing any testimony except on the order of the court. I ordered the testimony.
Thank you.
Man, is that-
Stipulated, Your Honor, what we're trying to do is get all the relevant facts, truthfully
That's
before
right.
the
We're
jury.
certain the truth, and that's what we're here for, to certain the truth.
And that sometimes has rules of procedure that need to be followed.
Bingo.
Can you tell the jury how it was that your investigation began to focus on Ms. Wuornos? Keeping in mind the limitations discussed.
We had come across some numerous leads where several names had been identified, and 2 of those names had been Cammie Marsh Green and Tyra Moore. We then went ahead and took those 2 particular names and ran a check in our pawn shop listings for the Volusia County area to see if any of those people, Cammie Marsh Green or Tyra Moore, might have done any business within the pawn shops. We did come across the fact that a person identified as Cammie Green had gone to the OK Pawn Shop on December 6th of 1989 and had pawned several items.
All right. May I confer with council's?
Yes, sir.
I ask you to examine State's Exhibit 16 and ask if you recognize that document and how that bears upon your testimony.
Yes, sir, I recognize it.
All right, sir. It is already evidence that you testified on it. How does that relate to your investigation in this cause?
On this particular document, it showed as Cami Marsh Green on December 6th of 1989, pawning 2 items, a 35 millimeter camera and a radar detector for the total price of $30.
Did your subsequent investigation reveal whether in fact it was Cami Marsh Green that pawned these items?
We went ahead and checked the thumbprint against Layton's that were over at our Layton Division of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. That particular thumbprint was checked, and it was determined that thumbprint came back to a person known to us as Lori Brody.
Lori Brody.
That's correct.
Did you make a search for someone named Lori Brody?
Yes, we did.
Did you ever find a Lori Brody?
Yes, we did.
And where did you find the Lori Brody?
Well, we found her at the Port Orange Pub, and I made contact with her at the Last Resort Bar.
All right, is the person that you were looking for as Lori Brody in the courtroom today?
Yes, she is.
Can you point her out, please?
Yeah, she's sitting right here at the end of the defense table.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the defendant's been identified.
We have to,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, may we approach the bench?
all right.
And did you take the defendant and you know what her true name is or the name that she is known by?
Yes, I did find out her true name,
All right, what is that?
Aileen Wuornos.
And did you take her into custody and place her in custody at the Volusia County Jail?
Yes, I did.
Did there come a time that telephone calls were made in which she was talking with another subject under your supervision or under the supervision of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I have a moment again?
Yes, sir.
And what was the purpose of the Volusia County Sheriff's Office monitoring the telephone calls?
An attempt to obtain information as far as involvement of Cami Green, Aileen Wuornos in the Mallory homicide.
And did any civilian participate in helping the Volusia County Sheriff's Office in that investigation phase where you were monitoring the telephone calls?
Yes, sir.
And who is the person that assisted the Volusia County Sheriff's Office?
Tyra Moore.
In the totality of your investigation as case agent, do you have any information, whatever, that Tyra Moore participated in killing Richard Mallory?
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you develop any information that indicated that Tyra Moore had killed Mr. Mallory?
Objection, Your Honor.
That be the case.
Your Honor, it would be of assistance to counsel if he would say the ground. Because if he say the ground, I might know what the ground is and be able to rephrase it.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I think the ground was known to the court. If we're going to get into legal argument, we can.
I'd like to.
Your Honor, your
With apologies, sir.
Your Honor, I respectfully apologize.
That's all right. You know, I'm hearing things the first time.
Yes, sir.
I'm having a rule about hearing, and you all know a lot more. You get a year's worth of discovery. I didn't get enlightened.
Let me first try to rephrase the question one more time and advise the court the purpose of the question. And if there's an objection, if the ground are stated, perhaps I'd be able to cure the objection by rephrasing or asking a different question.
Procedure to make a proffer.
And again, the proffer is made on the basis that apparently during the cross-examination of Tyra Moore, it appeared defense counsel was attempting to leave the jury with the impression that Tyra Moore was somehow involved in the murder of Richard Mallory. And I thought that was something that we certainly should rebut. So the question was to the case agents who worked the case, whether there was any information that he developed that indicated, any evidence that indicated that Tyra Moore participated in the killing or the stealing of the car.
Take your objection, sir.
The objection which Your Honor has already sustained twice is that A, it assumes a fact not an evidence. B, it's misleading. C, it's highly prejudicial. D, it's bolstering the prior witness. And it is simply an improper question to have an investigator testify as to involvement on the basis of information he's gathered. You can ask him information, but listen,
Now that I've heard the whole thing, I will overrule the objection.
I figured, Judge.
Bring it to your...
Thank you.
I just need to be enlightened on these points. So I'm trying
Well,
to...
just before the jurors come back, if we could just phrase everything real carefully. I know Mr. Tanner's trying to do it, but
Right. I'm just trying to avoid the problems with this that don't need to exist.
Right.
I don't want to borrow trouble.
So can I just moment something marked for the ranger and I would think save a little time.
She can be marked.
Yes, sir.
Do you have to put anything in the record about opening bags?
No, sir, not at this point.
Recommend.
Deputy Horzepa, I'd like you to look at State's Exhibit T for identification and ask if you can identify the individual in that photograph.
Yes, I can.
Did you tell the jury who that individual is?
That is Aileen Wuornos.
And can you tell the jury if that's the way she appeared at or about the time she was arrested?
Yes, it is.
Can you speak a little louder, sir?
Yes, it is.
The juror needs to hear.
And in your investigation, were you searching for the Mallory homicide, an individual that matched that general description as depicted in that photograph?
Yes, we were.
Your Honor, please read off the photograph and evidence.
Objection, photograph, unrelevancy.
Objection to the rule about that and be received and marked. Now, Mr. Tanner will give it to the clerk.
Take the State's Exhibit 29.
Concerning the Mallory case, up until the time you began to tape record, what other evidence did you develop leading you to believe that Aileen Wuornos had killed Mr. Mallory?
objection, Your Honor.
How far is this going to have to go now?
Dealing with the Mallory case, Your Honor.
Objection, Your Honor.
No, go ahead and that's your overrule.
In other words, what other evidence had you developed with regard to Mr. Mallory's homicide?
Your Honor, may we approach the bench? I think there's a motion that
Yes,
needs...
sir. I think Mr. Tanner knows what I'm going to rule with, so I go ahead.
There's a motion that needs to be made outside the presence of the jury, Your Honor. I won't waive it, and we can...
I'll withdraw the question. Maybe I can move into a different area and come back
All
later.
right.
Your Honor, that won't solve the problem.
Well, you said you're going to move into another area. I don't know if that might solve it.
With respect to the motion that needs to be made, Your Honor.
All right, jury, step in the jury room. What's your motion?
Your Honor, at this time, the defense would move for a mistrial based on the question that was asked by the prosecution, in which the prosecutor asked the witness, as it relates to the Mallory investigation, I think in light of the how closely we've all been skating to try to avoid any reference to any other homicides, and in context of how the jury will continue to skate around it, that by now I feel certain that they are at least very suspicious that there is more than one homicide involved here. And I don't think it can be cured. I would ask for a curative instruction, but I don't think it can be cured. In fact, I think it may emphasize that evidence.
Mr. Taylor,
Your Honor, we don't believe we've come close at all.
motion for mistrial denied, very clear.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At the time you arrested Aileen Wuornos, would you repeat that date again?
That would have been January 9th, 1991.
Sir. Did you have occasion to obtain any property from her person?
Yes, we did.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
I would like you to examine exhibits I and F and G and see if any of those items are taken from her person.
Yes, they were.
Could you tell the jury which of the three, or which combination of the three, was on her person?
At the time of Ms. Wuornos' arrest, she had on her the Florida driver's license identifying her as Cami Marsh Green. And she also had with her at that time some luggage that was also taken with her over to our operations center, which later on was found to contain the key and also this other small piece of paper that says from Jack's Mini Warehouse.
Your Honor, we respectfully offer the Cami Marsh Green driver's license and evidence at this time. It's State's Exhibit I for identification.
Renew the previous objection, no further argument, Your Honor.
Next, move to be received and marked evidence by the proper.
State Exhibit 130.
Were you present when the key was taken from the defendant?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell the jury whether or not she said anything in response to the key being taken?
When the key was being inventoried at the branch jail, she had made the comment that that key was her life.
Did there come a time that you had an occasion to use that key in a search in connection with this case?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell the jury what facility that key fit?
It was to a bin at Jack's Mini Warehouse. The bin number was storage C1G.
And did you participate in a search of the storage bin at the, what is it, a mini warehouse?
Yes, sir.
Describe to the jury what kind of property this is, what kind of business goes on.
Basically, it's a self-storage area where everyone rents out a storage unit depending on the size and has their own lock and key in order to gain access into their individual lockers.
All right, sir. Did you participate in entering and searching the property,
Yes, I did.
the storage warehouse, and would you look at exhibits 24, 25 and advise the jury whether or not you recognize what those photographs depict?
Yes, sir. These are photographs of the storage building itself and the individual storage locker.
Your Honor, we would offer State's Exhibit F for identification. No objection. And the little brochure on Jack's Mini Warehouse, it was taken from the defendant. This is a brochure, no objection.
That's the item to be received and marked evidence by the proper number.
State 31 and 32.
We have another one.
Let's see. I would ask you to examine State's Exhibit 12 in evidence which is a civilian type photograph, and Exhibit Y for identification. First, I would ask you to discuss if you recognize the photograph and what it represents to you, what it depicts.
Yes, sir, I do.
Could you tell the jury?
This is a photograph that was received by myself from Mr. Mallory's girlfriend, Jackie Davis.
Son Jeff Davis is in that photograph?
That's correct.
And what's the significance of that photograph as it relates to Mr. Mallory's case?
This particular photograph depicts in the photo itself, there is a picture of a Polaroid Instamatic camera, purplish maroon in color. It's sitting on the top of a small piece of furniture. And Ms. Davis advised me that this particular camera belonged to Mr. Mallory.
Objection here, so you're
Sustain the objection, this is hearsay testimony.
In your investigation of the Mallory homicide, did you begin to look for such a camera or try to be aware that such a camera might be relevant?
Yes, sir.
Did you find such a camera?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell the jury when and where you found that camera?
We found it at Jack's Mini Warehouse. When we did the search of that particular bin on January 14th, 1991.
And the bin was rented by whom?
It was rented by Cammy Green.
And the key to that bin was taken from whom?
Aileen Wuornos.
And the identification stating Cammy Green is an individual was taken from whom?
as to
True.
Yes, sir. Would you look at Exhibit Y, which is to your left front? Do you recognize that item?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell the jury what that is?
That's the Polaroid Instamatic camera that was taken out of the storage bin.
I would offer the camera into evidence.
It still has not been established, Your Honor, objection.
Objection, let the item be read and brought down by the proper number.
That's Exhibit 33.
We would also object on confrontation grounds, Your Honor, as to the manner the predicate was laid and other issues.
Objections noted.
All right, sir, did there come a time that you spoke to Aileen Wuornos in connection with your investigation into the killing of Mr. Mallory?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the jury when and where that interview took place?
It was done on January 16th, 1991 at the Volusia County Branch Jail.
And can you tell this court and jury whether or not she was advised of her rights before you spoke with her?
Yes, sir, she was.
Could you tell the jury in this court, please, what rights she was advised of?
She was advised of her Miranda rights from a written card.
Do you have that card on your possession,
No, sir.
on your person? Do you have access to that card, or do you have the rights?
The rights were advised by Sergeant Munster from a card that he had.
All right, sir.
Your Honor, we would request an instruction as to the jury's role on assessing voluntariness issues.
Getting on instructions, the jury can accept the testimony as it received.
All right, sir. And what rights was Ms. Wuornos advised of, to your recollection?
She was advised the right to remain silent. Anything that she may say could be used against her in a court of law. She also had the right to an attorney and have that attorney present with her before any questioning. If she could not afford an attorney, one would be presented to her without cost. And she also had the right to stop answering at any time until she contacted an attorney.
Did she indicate that she understood her rights?
Yes, sir.
And what was her indication?
She advised that she wanted to talk, but that she also wanted to speak to a lawyer.
Okay. And what was done in connection with that request?
Once she advised me that she wanted to speak to a lawyer, I then made contact with the public defender's office.
All right, sir. And were you able to obtain a lawyer for her?
Yes, sir.
And did the lawyer come to the site where the interview was taking place?
Yes, sir.
Did she and that lawyer then have time to confer in private?
Yes, sir.
All right, what happened after that?
After that, we came back in, and Ms. Wuornos advised that she was willing to go ahead and talk to me.
And was the lawyer still present?
Yes, sir.
In Ms. Wuornos' presence, did the lawyer voice any concerns or opposition to her talking?
Yes, sir.
And what did the lawyer say in her presence with regard to her giving you a statement?
Your Honor, I object on the grounds of hearsay.
Well, the defendant was present.
Objection of rule is hearsay.
He suggested that she not speak to us.
Did she follow his advice?
No, sir.
What did she do?
She she was willing to talk to me about the Mallory homicide.
All right, sir, how did the interview then end after the lawyer was present? And may I ask, before you get there, did the lawyer stay as the interview proceeded?
Yes, sir, and she was advised of her rights again with the public defender present.
All right, sir. The same rights as you have testified under oath into the record earlier?
Yes, sir.
Did she then indicate whether she understood those rights having been advised a second time now that she had a lawyer with her?
Yes, sir.
And did she indicate whether or not she wanted to make a statement and waive her rights and make a statement, or did she indicate she wanted to do something else?
She advised that she would waive her rights and make a statement.
All right, sir. What happened next?
I then began to question her in reference to the Mallory homicide.
All right, sir. How did that proceed? And tell us what you said and how she answered and what her dialogue was.
I basically started out,
For the record, Your Honor, the witness is looking at some documents. We have
You care to examine them?
we have no objection to that, but we would request the opportunity to examine them on cross-examination, not to...
You can come look at them now. if you want to.
That's okay. Go ahead.
start if I refer to my
Yes,
notes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
How did the interview proceed?
The interview started in reference to I went ahead again and advised Ms. Wuornos who I was.
Let me ask counsel. May I proceed, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor. After Ms. Wuornos waived her right to remain silent and determined that she would talk with you and answer questions, did you proceed to obtain a statement from her?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury with regard to this case what she said to you about the homicide of Mr. Mallory, how that proceeded.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
Again, I introduced myself, explained to her who I was, and that I was investigating the homicide of Richard Mallory.
Your Honor, for the court's consideration and for the record, we would renew all previous issues raised pertaining to statements. And as Your Honor knows, there's a ruling on the table on that, but we're formally doing it at this juncture.
Right, your record is protected. Your objection is noted.
Thank you, Judge.
Or may I get something?
Yes, sir.
All right, how did the interview proceed, and what did you ask her? What did she say back?
I first started off by advising her that I was investigating the death of Richard Mallory and advised her when it had occurred. And I showed her a photograph of my victim and asked her if she could identify the photograph.
Objection to my victim.
Objection overruled.
Do you have that photograph with you?
Yes, sir.
Would you produce it, please? All right. Did you show her several other photographs during this early part of the interview?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, may I have all the photographs marked for just identification?
Identification. Counsel, have you seen these?
On my way, Judge.
Get back to the stand.
You know what they are, they're small versions of larger photographs already in evidence.
All right.
May they be marked
Yes, sir.
for identification?
Right.
You have to be more separate anyway.
There's a short commission on it, the first thing.
Yes, sir. And you thought the Ziploc bags were for the kitchen.
All right, sir. I will view the photographs in just a few moments. If you'll describe the photographs of your testimony while I'm working, that'd be fine. What photographs did you show her and what were her responses?
I showed her a total of 8 photographs. The first one being of Richard Mallory, and she advised that she knew who that person was. The second photograph was of Mr. Mallory's vehicle, being a 1977 Cadillac. The third photo was of the actual crime scene where the body was located. The fourth photograph was also of the crime scene, but it showed the body under a carpet. The fifth photograph showed Mr. Mallory's vehicle as it was found parked off John Anderson. The sixth photograph I showed was the photo of the Instamatic camera. The seventh photograph was also the same photograph of the Instamatic Polaroid camera with Mr. Davis. And the eighth photograph was some items that had been located behind Mr. Mallory's vehicle in the sand.
All right, give a little more description as the items found near Mr.
That was evidence that was collected that was found to have belonged to Mr. Mallory.
Glasses and the vodka bottle, that stuff?
Yes, her driver's license, cards, things of that nature.
All right. With regard to the various photographs, did she respond to them, and if so, how?
She did respond to them all in a positive manner, and she was able to go ahead and advise me on each one of these photographs.
All right. And what did she tell you about the Mallory photograph?
She advised me that she knew who that person was and that she had been hitchhiking from Tampa on I-4, and that Mr. Mallory had in fact picked her up. And this was in the early part of December '89.
All right, sir. And if you will, go ahead and relate to this jury then what she told you happened, and if there's any photograph that plays a part in the narrative, comment.
Okay. It was early evening. Mr. Mallory was traveling from Tampa over to the Daytona area. Mr. Mallory picked up Miss Wuornos, and they traveled together over to the Volusia County, Daytona area.
Did she say whether she solicited the ride or he solicited the ride? In other words, did she hitch a ride?
She advised that she was hitchhiking, yes.
Okay. Did she indicate what vehicle he was driving?
Yes. She advised it was a Cadillac. I showed a photograph to her, and she identified the photograph of being Mr. Mallory's.
All right. What else did she tell you?
At that time, they proceeded to Volusia County, and Miss Wuornos asked Mr. Mallory if he wanted to help her make some money and proposition him for sex, and they went to find a place in the woods, basically to park.
What did she say happened next?
At that time, her story changed twice.
Since the story, just tell what she told you, and then if there's a change, no change, tell the change.
She advised that they went into the woods, and she described for me the area that they went into, and it was off of US 1 and I-95.
And was it consistent with where you found Mr. Mallory's body?
That's correct.
What did she say happened?
At that time, they went into the woods at approximately 12 o'clock midnight, and she advised that they were having fun all night and that they had spent several hours there, approximately till about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Did she indicate whether they were drinking or not?
Yes, sir.
And what did she indicate?
They had been drinking, yes.
What else did she tell you then happened?
At that point, Mr. Mallory gives Ms. Wuornos some money for sex at approximately 5 o'clock in the morning, and Ms. Wuornos...
Did she say how much money he gave her?
No, sir.
All right, go ahead.
And then Ms. Wuornos starts to disrobe. She advised me that at this particular time, they're in the woods, in the Cadillac. Mr. Mallory is sitting behind the steering wheel of his vehicle, and Ms. Wuornos is sitting in the front seat passenger side.
All right, did she say whose idea it was that she disrobed?
No, sir.
Did she indicate in her general conversation with you concerning her prostitution practices what her general practice was with regard to disrobe?
Objection, Your Honor.
Second overruled.
Yes, sir. She advised that it was usually her practice to disrobe first.
All right, first.
Yes, sir.
Did she say why?
To make the customer feel more at ease.
All right, what did she say happened after she took her clothes off?
The doors are open on the Cadillac, on both the passenger and the driver's side.
And he was seated where and she was seated where?
He is seated behind the steering wheel of his car, and she is seated right next to him, front seat passenger side.
Okay. Continue, please.
At that time, they both, Mr. Mallory and Ms. Wuornos, start to kiss, they start to hug, and Mr. Mallory doesn't take his clothes off. I asked Ms. Wuornos if she knew what Mr. Mallory was wearing, and she was able to advise me that he was wearing jeans and a shirt, which was consistent with the same type of clothing that Mr. Mallory had on when we found him, his remains in the woods. She advised that Mr. Mallory leaned over from the driver's side onto Ms. Wuornos, who was sitting over on the passenger side. Ms. Wuornos advised that Mr. Mallory just wanted to unzip his pants to have sex and basically not to take his pants off.
Did she indicate whether or not she was accommodating him up to that point? Accommodating him, cooperating?
Yes, sir.
All right. She indicated, go ahead, please.
Ms. Wuornos then asked Mr. Mallory if to go ahead and disrobe. Mr. Mallory apparently didn't want to do this, and there was some sort of a small struggle.
All right, now, you use the word small struggle. Are those her words? In effect?
If I can review my notes.
Yes.
Her words were, "So we're fighting a little bit."
Okay, a little bit.
Yes,
Those are
sir.
her words.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was over whether he should take his pants off or just unzip.
Yes, sir.
If the investigator can just cite the page for us.
Page 7.
All right, sir. What happened after that?
After that, Ms. Wuornos advised me that she felt that Mr. Mallory was going to take his money back or roll him. And
Or roll him, what does that mean? Or
Roll her.
Roll her, what does that mean?
basically to steal money from her.
Okay.
May we have the page number, please?
Page 8. Go ahead, please. I gave you the page reference.
Okay. At that time, Ms. Wuornos advised that she had a blue bag with the zipper open where she had kept her gun, and she said that the zipper had remained open so that she would be able to easily get to that particular weapon. At that time, Ms. Wuornos advised me that she thought that she was going to be raped, She then stated that she jumped from the car. She grabbed her gun. There was a tussle for the actual bag itself, pulling back and forth. She advises that she ends up with the bag and she has the gun. And she then orders Mr. Mallory out of his car and says, "You son of a bitch, I knew you were going to rape me." And Mr. Mallory responds by saying, "No, I wasn't, no, I wasn't." Ms. Wuornos then shot Mr. Mallory at least one time as he was sitting behind the steering wheel, with one of those bullets striking Mr. Mallory in the right side of his body.
Sure, what else did she say? Did she say she gave him a chance to respond after he said, "No, I wasn't, no, I wasn't"?
No, sir. She told me that she shot immediately.
Did she say he was trying to get out of the car and chase her or anything like that?
No, sir.
He was where in the automobile?
Sitting behind the steering wheel.
She was where?
She was right outside of the car door, now on the passenger side.
Did she tell you what kind of weapon she had?
.22 caliber revolver.
Did she tell you how many shots she had?
It was a 9-shot, fully loaded.
Tell you how long she'd had that gun before she killed Mallory with?
2 days before.
What else did she tell you?
At that time, after she advised me that one of the bullets struck Mr. Mallory in the right side, she said that Mr. Mallory crawled out of the car on the driver's side and closed the car door. At that time, Ms. Wuornos ran around to the front of the car and shoots Mr. Mallory again. Ms. Wuornos advised that Mr. Mallory was standing, that he falls to the ground, and that Ms. Wuornos then goes over to Mr. Mallory while he's lying on the ground and shoots 2 more times for a total of 4 times.
All right, sir, what else did she tell you?
At that point, Ms. Wuornos went through the victim's wallet and pockets for ID and money. After she did that, she then found a rug from using the moonlit sky as a light source, and then placed it over Mr. Mallory's body. And she then got into Mr. Mallory's car and drove it from the scene, stopped to get some gas, and went back to the motel where Ty Moore was, and they used that car to move to the new address, which was found to be on Burley Avenue.
Did she say she told Ty Moore anything about what happened?
Yeah, she advised me that she told Ty to kill him.
Did she say she told Ty more than one version of killing?
Yes, sir.
What were the stories that she told Ty?
The one version was that she had found a man in the woods with a carpet over him while she was out, and the other version was that she had killed him.
Did she tell you she ever told Ty Moore Mr. Mallory tried to rape her or abuse her or hurt her?
No, sir.
Sir, did she tell you any other versions of how she happened to kill Mr. Mallory?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury what else she told you.
If the detective can give us the transcript page, huh?
It'll be from several pages.
Page 9 toward the end. Proceed, please.
The second version was basically the same from the point where Ms. Wuornos advised that she was picked up from I-4 and asked Mr. Mallory to help her make money and going to the woods.
All right, in the second version, basically the same then up until she arrives at the scene of the killing.
That's correct.
Okay.
Once
I'm sorry, continue with it.
Once in the woods, Ms. Wuornos advised that she had had fun with Mr. Mallory for the past 5 hours in those woods from midnight until 5 o'clock in the morning. She advised me that she told Mr. Mallory that since we've been talking all night long, I always take my money first, but you seem like a pretty nice guy, so okay, let's go have some fun. At that time, Ms. Wuornos advised that she lay down on the front seat of Mr. Mallory's car. Ms. Wuornos then begins to have sex with Mr. Mallory and asks Mr. Mallory, why don't you take your clothes off, and says it'll hurt if you don't. Mr. Mallory says that he's going to have sex with Mr. Wuornos right now. Ms. Wuornos said, no, you're not going to just fuck me, you're going to pay me. Argument then begins about payment, and there's a struggle over her bag, excuse me, over her bag. Ms. Wuornos then gets out of Mr. Mallory's vehicle, again on the passenger side, pulls the .22 caliber handgun from her bag and shoots Mr. Mallory at least one time as he's sitting behind the steering wheel of his car with one of the bullets hitting Mr. Mallory in the right side. At that time, again, Mr. Mallory crawls out of the car, and it's basically the same.
All right. When he crawled out of the car, did she describe basically what was separating them as he crawled out? Did he crawl out the passenger side or the driver's side from her version?
He crawled out the driver's side.
Did she, after he crawled out, did she continue shooting through the car?
No, because he had closed the car door.
And then she did what?
Therefore, she didn't have a clear line of sight, so she ran around to the front of the car to be able to see Mr. Mallory again.
And in this second version, did she describe killing him?
Yes, sir. She advised that she shot Mr. Mallory a second time, that Mr. Mallory fell to the ground. Ms. Wuornos then went over to Mr. Mallory and shot him 2 additional times.
In this second version, did she indicate she'd given Mr. Mallory a chance to respond or to do anything to ward off the shots?
No, sir.
Did she indicate what was her intent as she shot him on the ground the last 2 shots?
She had told me that she wasn't going to allow Mallory to skip out on paying her money, that she had killed him for basically witness elimination.
Can I have the page, please?
Tape 1, page 7. That would be for witness elimination. Tape 1, page 6 for not allowing Mr. Mallory to skip out on paying Ms. Wuornos her money.
Did she indicate she intended for him to die?
Yes, sir. She had said that she had definitely shot Mr. Mallory to let him die. She advised me that she liked being in control and that she had killed Mr. Mallory for retaliation, that he deserved it. And she also said that she had taken final revenge on Mr. Mallory by keeping his property.
Now, did there come a time when she described to you what she did to cover up her crime?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury, please.
After she had used the car to move to the Burley Avenue address, she then took the car from that residence and drove the vehicle up to John Anderson and parked the car in some bushes. Basically, it was a cut fire trail that was off of John Anderson. At that particular time, she advised that she wiped the car down with a towel in an attempt to get rid of any prints. And she took a camera and a radar detector and then threw away some of the victim's personal items and kept some others. And took Mr. Mallory's wallet and along with some tumblers and a liquor bottle, and buried them in the sand behind Mr. Mallory's vehicle where she had parked it in an attempt to also get rid of evidence.
All right, sir, did she tell you what she did with the radar detector and the 35mm camera?
Yes, sir, she advised me that she had sold them.
And with regard to the purple Polaroid camera, was she able to identify that through any means that you presented to her?
Yes, and two of the photographs that I had showed her that had the photograph of the Instamatic camera at that birthday party scene, she advised that the camera that was taken out of her storage bin was the same.
Say what she did with Mr. Mallory's car keys?
She advised that she just, as she left the area, how she had left the area was she had brought a 10-speed bicycle with her, and it was in the back of the trunk. After she had dropped off the car, she then took the bike and pedaled out of the area with the bike, and had tossed the keys in an unknown area, believed to be on somebody's residential swale.
She indicated that she had anything to do with Mr. Mallory's personal razor, electric razor?
Yes, sir. That particular razor was obtained from a gentleman at the Yugoslavian restaurant, which was just north of the Fairview Motel. I had spoken to that gentleman. He advised me that he had received an electric razor from Ms. Wuornos as a gift. He had given me that particular razor back, and I had asked her about that razor during my...
Objection.
Overruled.
I had asked her about that particular electric razor during the interview, and she advised that that belonged to Mr. Mallory.
Right, sir. Did you find out... Did I ask you about Mr. Mallory's car keys?
Yes, sir.
Did you find out whether or not she had time she talked to you a motive for killing Mr. Mallory?
Objection, Your Honor, to the characterization.
Great request.
All right. Did she tell you why she killed Mr. Mallory?
She told me numerous things during the interview. She had stated to me that when someone hassled her, she responded by saying, "Don't fuck with me." She said she didn't know why she did it, but whenever somebody would hassle her, that she would whip out her gun and she would give it to them. She had advised me that she had had sex with 250,000 men. She told me about the .22 revolver, and that she had had it 2 days prior to meeting Mr. Mallory.
Did she say what she did with the .22 revolver after the sometime after the killing?
Yes, she did.
What did she say she did with the revolver?
She advised me that she threw it in the water at Rose Bay, which was just south of the Fairview Motel where she had been staying.
All right. Was that immediately after the killing or sometime much later?
Over a year later.
She disposed of the gun over a year later?
Yes, sir.
Did you convey to your dive team searching for that pistol where it could be found?
Yes, I did.
Did she say anything with regard to her need to kill Mr. Mallory or to kill him as it may relate to her job as a prostitute?
She advised me that she had to shoot Mr. Mallory to let him die, and that she couldn't leave him alive, basically because if she was caught, she wouldn't be able to apply to her trade as a prostitute.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Kind of a job security motive.
Objection, Your Honor.
Did you ever express some confusion when you first talked to her about why she killed him? Did she ever indicate it wasn't even clear in her mind why she killed him?
Yes, sir. I stated before, she told me that she didn't know why she did it, but she said that when someone hassled her, she would whip out a gun and give it to him. She also told me that she specialized in men over 37 years of age, and she said that was basically to avoid drug scene.
Your Honor, ask to approach the bench.
Maybe make
Specialized in prostitution of men over 37 for what reason?
Your Honor, we need to make a motion that's so present. Sorry, Your Honor, I can't see it. It is simply report from this trial on the basis of the last comment that Ms. Wuornos specialized in men under the age of 37, the implication being she in fact committed more than one homicide.
I was looking at the order prepared by Judge Graziano in this matter. The order being entered on this oral order entered on December 6, 1981, and the written order reduced and signed on December 11, 1991. Where Judge Graziano says we can always require that people make the best choice. We can only require or allow them to make their choice. The choice was made, the objection was overruled, the motion for this trial is denied. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I just make one thing on the record. What I think is happening is that the officer is characterizing her statements in his own terms. I don't believe she ever said she specialized in older men or men over the age of 47.
Do you know, sir?
I believe you were asking her about younger men, officer.
She responded. She had responded, every guy I dealt with on the road was anywhere from, let's see, 37 and up.
She didn't say she specialized.
Judge, two things before the jury comes back. One is the detective is using certain notes, a synopsis during his testimony, a shorter version. If we could have a copy of that at some point before cross-examination.
There was an indication made that you had the...
No, not that, we do not have the synopsis. We have
A transcript.
a transcript of the statement, but the synopsis that the detective has been using throughout his testimony and referring to, we don't have a copy of it.
Thank you,
Thank
Your
you,
Honor.
Judge. If we can have the state make us a copy of that. I don't know if Mr. Tanner has one, but at some point if we could have one before cross-examination so that we can use it too, since it's what the witness used on direct.
There have been occasions where he has used his own words.
Cross looking again as soon as this witness is complete with direct.
We can provide a copy, Judge.
All right, you would.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the transcript he is referring to is an edited portion that he has worked on in preparation for his testimony. But the entirety of that transcript, word for word, has been provided to defense counsel for discovery and has always been in their possession.
Judge, the point of the matter is the witness is using a document during his direct testimony. That document has not been provided to the defense. Given Mr. DeMoore's statement, we would formally request that it be provided now.
All right, we'll continue with that to get it for you. Now.
Thank you, Judge.
Get it. Yes.
Second thing, Judge, may we have the jury instructed that voluntariness and waiver are issues for them to determine contemporaneous with this witness's testimony. Thank you, Judge. And we'll take up that.
Use these.
No, well, we can have some preliminary testimony while we're making a copy.
Is he needed,
I don't think so, Your Honor, not that we start cross.
we're ready for the jury?
We are, Your Honor.
Bring it to yours.
Did you or anyone, to your knowledge, or in your presence, offer Ms. Wuornos any benefit for giving you the statement about which you just testified?
No, sir.
Did you or anyone, to your knowledge, offer any inducement to persuade her to give her statement?
Objection, Your Honor.
No, sir.
Did you or anyone, to your knowledge, threaten, intimidate, coerce, or otherwise force Aileen Wuornos to give you the statement about which you testified?
Objection, Your Honor, including form of the question.
Overruled.
No, sir.
May the witness step down momentarily, Your Honor, and address the matter again. Would you step down, please? Could you, for the benefit of the jury, remember there are jurors to your right as you face back this direction, not block the map. Could you tell them what each of those red dots represent in sequential order? And you again, Your Honor, referring to the map, which is in evidence, I believe it's Exhibit 7. Yes, Exhibit 7, which is the northeast portion of Volusia County, Florida.
This dot here, number 1, represents where we found Mr. Mallory's body. This dot here, number 2, represents where Ms. Wuornos advised me that she had taken the car after killing Mr. Mallory and going to the Ocean Shores Motel to pick up Tyler Moore to go to their new apartment in Burley Avenue. From dot number 2 to dot number 3 is the area that was traveled to get to the Burley Avenue address. From dot number 3 to dot number 4 is from Burley Avenue where Ms. Wuornos took Mr. Mallory's car, brought it up to dot number 4 where the car was taken and placed on a fire trail off of John Anderson.
All right, sir. Did you have the occasion to note the mileage between those various points?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you recall what they were or are?
I have to refer my notes.
May he
Yes.
pull his notes, refer to them? You can just bring them out over the top of the bench. You can reach it.
From Mr. Mallory's body to the Ocean Shores Motel was 11.8 miles, and the route that I took in order to obtain that mileage was from US 1 south to Highway 40, across east to A1A, and then north of the motel.
We would inquire, Your Honor, whether this particular document has been provided to the defense.
We're going to give it to you in just a moment before cross-examination.
So it has not been provided.
And the record reflects, Your Honor, the state attorney's office never had that document in possession. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, you're not doing the questioning here.
The judge is not the one that'll have to answer for it.
You made your statement. Now you're ready to proceed with the trial. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
From number 2 with the Ocean Shores Motel to the address on Burley Avenue is 9.3 miles, and the route that I took for that was A1A south, back to Highway 40, went west on Highway 40 to US 1, and then south down to 3rd Street, cut back east again to Burley Avenue. From Burley Avenue, number 3, back up to the dot of number 4, where the vehicle was located, was 12.3 miles. And I took that basically from going back on to US 1, north of Highway 40, east of John Anderson, and then straight up to where the car was found. I also then did a mileage comparison from Burley Avenue down to Rose Bay, Bridge, Harbor Oaks area, and that was 9.4 miles. That's where the weapon was recovered.
Thank you. May the witness return to the stand, Your Honor? Yes, sir. And may I have a copy of that for Jim? Have a copy?
Your Honor, we would formally move for a Richardson ruling as to each set of documents at this juncture.
I had reviewed this, I find that it's satisfactory, copy of the order of council. I don't know about the copy that's being made right now.
Respectfully object.
Your Honor, like
There, you can leave those.
Judge, may anything I suppose?
What?
Judge, in the
I said it's murder, I'm not happy about that.
all right, so I'm not going to ask for coach. Judge, in light of counsel's objection, I would like to have an opportunity to establish that there is no Richardson violation.
I reviewed what's here and I'm satisfied, there's no violation. I don't know what's some of the other extra, we may have to have some hearing on that.
So long as the court has had the opportunity to review and made that determination. Thank you,
I
Judge.
did on this instrument, which the notes we had.
Thank you, Judge. So the record is clear. Thank you.
Best interest of this trial, today.
Your Honor made the ruling for the record, and for the record, it's not in our hands yet.
And it wasn't just dropped over on your desk.
Not that I know, of, Judge Bill.
Your Honor, I just recovered it from,
For the record, it's now in my left hand.
I have no further questions of the witness, Your Honor. Thank you.
Before you get off the stand, you prefer to speak across now if you have the item.
No, Your Honor, since it was just put in my hand a few seconds ago.
You can have a couple of minutes, but yes, sir.
Can we take a recess, Your Honor, and confer
Let's
this?
wait for you to look at.
Two things, Judge. There's another one we haven't gotten yet.
As soon as he gets here, be delivered to you. This Tanner, if you made this to, on the copy here.
That's his.
Well, this is the copy. You have a copy.
Yes, Your Honor, and for the record, if it please the court, the notes that are provided to Mr. Nolis and his defense team are simply the officer's notes made in preparation to testify, which make reference to the transcribed copy of the recorded
Where you
statement.
made the finding, yes, they're satisfactory, and it's the last gentleman was invited, I reviewed that, there's no reference violation there.
Thank you, Judge. We have no further questions. Your Honor, Mr. DeMoore reminded me I had failed to move the smaller photographs that the witness had showed to Ms. Wuornos, and I respect the move to have an accepted evidence at this time.
Counsel?
I just want to make sure I know what you're talking about.
I think that's the note, but look at it, these ones look at it before.
Sorry, Judge, I'm looking at all sorts of things at the same time, so.
They're marked. You did this duplicate, you did the active photograph shown. to Ms. Wuornos.
Your Honor,
Subject to the attitude she working that way.
That stays at 34.
But can I just open the rules on other items? Make sure that you.
Now, of course, we were, we get 34 and
Judge, so the record will be clear, the reason I asked to confer with counsel is previously the state had offered as an exhibit state's number W, which the court, in light of the admission of state's 12, which is now in evidence showing the Polaroid of Jeff Davis, felt was cumulative. However, at this time, the detective has testified that his photograph number 7, which was shown to Ms. Wuornos at the date of January the 16th and identified by her as the Polaroid camera, is now being offered. I wanted to make sure the council knew that because there were no corresponding blow-ups, and in light of the court's ruling, I wanted to make it clear to the court if that was acceptable.
Renew the previous objection.
No, that stays at 40.
Your Honor, we would also ask to move the evidence without objection. State's exhibit.
No objection, Your Honor.
J.
yeah, we received the mark never like proper number.
Stays at 41.
Just for linkage, may I mention?
Yes, sir.
Exhibit 41, which has been admitted in evidence without objection. Can you tell the jury what that document is, please?
That's the rental contract agreement to Jack's Mini Warehouse where the storage number C1G was rented by a person identified as Cami Green.
Thank you. To help use the time better, there was a question that I asked, and there was an objection, and the jury was excused, and the jury came back in. I don't think I asked that question again when it came back in. May I ask that question?
All right, sir.
Your investigation as the case officer in this case, did you develop any evidence that Tyria Moore participated in the killing of Richard Mallett? Objection.
Overruled.
No, sir.
Thanks.
Ready to proceed, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Your Honor, we tried to respectfully object to the record to the time constraint. We did our best.
It's all right. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. You have told us that you have testified from general notes that you've made concerning the statements that my client made to you on January 16th. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the judge has allowed us to...
Excuse me, Your Honor, please. That question is misleading. It would indicate that those notes are separate from...
Object to the speaking objection, Your Honor.
I don't need any of it. You can bring it back and recross if you would like. I'll redirect it if you'd like to, but you may proceed then.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you had lifted information from what you recall or what you have preserved as being statements from my client. Is that right?
What do you mean by lifted, ma'am?
What you have testified from here today, these sheets.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there are typed references to information that you have testified that you gleaned from my client.
Yes, ma'am.
And I notice on these forms that there are also handwritten notes.
That's correct.
Who has written the handwritten notes on these?
Those are my handwriting.
Okay. I noticed that when you were testifying about the general information concerning the statement that my client made, you refer to page 23 and indicate that she advised she was almost harmed. And then you write out, don't use.
Yes, ma'am.
So you didn't testify that she told you that, did you?
No, ma'am.
story, you call it story number 1. Again, notes written in hand, referring to statements from designated pages in the transcript. Did you write those notes?
Yes, ma'am.
You indicate that Wuornos shot Mallory 1 time as he sits behind the steering wheel. And that was a quote from her statement. And then yet you write in hand at least 1 time.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so that's your notation, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm referring now to your summary saying Wuornos advises she killed Mallory for the following reasons. You indicate Wuornos took final revenge on Mallory. You refer to page 47. And in your handwriting, you say, by keeping his property. She didn't say she took final revenge on Mallory, did she?
No, ma'am, I said that and she agreed to it.
So what you have testified to here are your characterizations of her statement. Isn't that true, officer?
No, ma'am.
She never told you she specialized in older men, did she?
She advised me that she specialized, her customers were men over 37 years of age.
She never told you she specialized in older men, did she?
No, ma'am.
You also testified, and you label this, and your Wuornos confession, story number 2. You testified that she asks him to take his clothes off. What you didn't say is that she said in her statement, it's going to hurt her if he doesn't. Isn't that correct?
No, ma'am, I believe I did say that.
Say that an argument begins about payment, and you put in your writing, it's a struggle over a bag.
That's
Two
correct.
people are struggling. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
An argument about payment is your terminology, is your word for
Yes, ma'am.
what was said.
Yes, ma'am.
You testified that my client was arrested at a bar here in Daytona, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she had been drinking, hadn't she, before she was arrested?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, she had been to more than one bar in the 24 hours before her arrest. Isn't that true?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, she actually slept outside the bar on a car seat after the bar closed, didn't she?
I've been told that, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you know that undercover officers were buying her beer and dancing with her, don't you?
I know they were inside the bar talking to her.
You don't know that Investigator Joyner was buying her beer? You were in contact with him, were you not?
Just audio, no visual.
Just audio.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Officer, I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit number 29. When was that photograph taken, please?
The day of her arrest.
The night of her arrest?
Yes, ma'am.
After she left the bar?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. When you talk to my client at the Volusia County Jail
We get the date, Your Honor.
on the 16th, Your Honor, of January 1991, the day that you got a statement from my client,
Yes,
do you
ma'am.
recall that day?
Yes, ma'am.
She told you over and over and over again that she had acted in self-defense and that she was drunk, didn't she?
Not in reference to Mr. Mallory.
Your Honor, I think we need to approach.
Go ahead. I don't need to be approached, unless you have a
Okay.
motion you want the jury to step out.
I do.
Jury, step out of the room.
Your Honor, once again, there's been a reference to, not as it relates to Mallory, the inference there being
You will
there were
listen to the
others.
question, ma'am, and I'm sorry, we'll have to listen to the answer that you request to bring in the jury, but make your motion for mistrial.
I moved for a mistrial on this basis, and I can't impeach him on that without going into the others.
That's exactly, when you will listen to questions, you're going to suffer the answers that you get, and you will listen to that question. And so your motion for mistrial is denied and bring in the jury.
Judge, that's true. When you elicit the question, you have to live with the answer. However, when you have a situation where the synopsis that the witness is using is provided to counsel right before cross-examination, you have a situation where the defense has no opportunity to prepare a synopsis which has the redactation in it. You see what I'm saying?
Synopsis of the full information given to him.
Your Honor, these are not witness statements as contemplated by the rule. These are the witness's reference notes as to areas he's going to testify from. They are not witness statements as contemplated by the rule at all. The entire interview upon which these trial reference notes the witness is using has been provided to counsel long ago. They have the whole transcript. In fact, they have the whole tape recording if they want it. It's audio and visual. He simply made the notes, and I think sometimes by probably tomorrow morning we'll have to file a copy of those if the court doesn't already have them.
Court has not a copy.
They are simply the officer's own prepared notes that refer to the pages in the subject matter. They aren't verbatim witness statements. They aren't contemporaneous with any witness. They're simply his preparation notes for trial.
All right, I will file the officer's copy for verification. Sure testify.
An additional matter, Your Honor, is in response to that question, and Mr. Tenner and I approached and discussed this with Investigator Horzepa, a simple no would have sufficed. You don't have to say not in reference to that.
Let's don't be picky about the answer that you will listen. Because you know what the answer is going to be.
And Your Honor, I'm a little concerned now. You know, we
are.
We clamped down on this witness and told him to keep his mouth shut regarding any other crime. But if they are going to ask him questions, and the only truthful answer involves that crime, that narrowing, that muzzling, and the fact that this witness should be lifted now with the court's permission, he should be able to give a full and honest answer to any question asked. It says a search for the truth.
And I agree, and we discussed with the witness, and we all agreed we were going to talk in reference to Mallory. And Ms. Jenkins said, what about X? We don't know that's in reference to Mallory. All you need to say is no.
Well,
Yes.
you asked me a question, you got an answer. Now, that's all I'm going to live with, because that's all I've heard.
Respectfully object and move for mistrial. I don't know if that was...
I completed that record for you.
Your Honor.
It was actually noted in the motion for
Thank you,
mistrial
Your
was
Honor.
denied. Name, Clark.
Officer, do you remember my client telling you that when she was spending time with Mr. Mallory, she was getting drunk royal? Would it refresh your memory? Page 5, transcript.
Would that be which tape, ma'am?
That would be in the original transcript, page 5. Second tape.
Second tape. Yes, ma'am.
She also told you, and you can refer to that same page, page 5, that she told you that she spent the whole night drinking, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
So she did tell you that she was drunk when she was with Mallory.
That's correct.
And in fact, there was evidence found at the scene that would support that, wasn't there?
Which scene, ma'am?
The scene where Mallory's body was discovered. And start with that one.
There were discarded debris there.
And beer cans.
Yes, ma'am.
And at the scene where the vehicle was found, there was evidence of alcohol, was there not?
Yes, ma'am.
In fact, there was a bottle of vodka that was almost empty. Isn't that right?
Half empty, yes, ma'am.
And during your investigation of this homicide, you did a background on Mallory, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
And you learned that he liked to drink a lot. He liked to drink excessively.
He would drink, yes, ma'am.
Do you recall indicating in your report that he likes to drink excessive, page 4 of your report, officer?
I don't have that with me, ma'am.
Just a moment, I'll give it to you. Would it refresh your memory to see that?
Yes, please.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
She also told you that while she was with him that Mr. Mallory was smoking marijuana, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
She told you he was smoking a lot of marijuana.
He just said he was smoking some pot.
From the time she picked him up until the time that she left, he was smoking marijuana, wasn't he? According to her statements.
Could I have the page on that, ma'am?
Certainly.
I believe I found it.
Okay, thank you. She did tell you that? Should be pages 5 and 6 of the transcript.
Right. She advised me that whole night drinking, having fun. And when I required from her as to what is having fun, she advised me just talking. He's smoking pot and I'm drinking, and we're talking.
Okay, and she says they're doing that until about 5 a.m. in the morning, does she not?
Yes, ma'am.
And she told you that he picked her up sometime after 10:30, and then when she got in the car, he was smoking marijuana, didn't she?
She advised me that he was smoking pot sometime during that time.
Your background investigation revealed that Mr. Mallory liked to smoke marijuana, didn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Your investigation also revealed that it changed him completely when he was smoking marijuana. Isn't that true?
I would need to be refreshed on that, ma'am.
Do you recall taking the statement of a Jacqueline Davis?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall that she was the girlfriend of Mr. Mallory?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall, would it refresh your memory to see that?
If I could,
Page
yes,
10?
ma'am.
That refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
His personality changed. He was smoking marijuana.
Excuse me, just a moment. Your Honor, I now see what she's referring to, and I respectfully object on the grounds, Your Honor, that this testimony is based upon a hearsay statement. The witness is not available for cross-examination by the state, and there's no way to test the general meaning of the answers as they're framed. Basically, it's hearsay, Your Honor. We are not confronted with it, not able to examine it.
Your Honor, the witness indicated that this statement refreshed his recollection. That's all it was used for, to refresh the witness's recollection.
But what the Tanner is talking about is the substance. I don't want to make any comments about that from the jury. I will just make it objective.
Well, maybe we need to take up the substance outside the presence.
Your
of the
Honor, it's
jury.
not offered for the truth in the matter asserted.
That I can't tell. But you'll step in the jury room.
If Your Honor, please, our first objection would be that this is clearly hearsay. It is an attempt by the defense, Your Honor, at, in effect, I think, character assassination of a murder victim. by the use of inadmissible evidence. And this statement and the assertions being put before the jury in the form of questions are simply a compilation of a statement by a third party, a lady by the name of Jacqueline Davis. Now, she's available if they would like to call her as a witness and believe that she may have some relevant or material information, evidence to offer to this jury in this cause. But to try to bring Ms. Davis's varying opinions, comments, and thoughts about the murder victim into this trial in this fashion to, in effect, discredit or smear the dead man who is not here certainly to defend himself would not only violate the hearsay law, but, Your Honor, would not serve the best interests of justice and would be totally unfair to the murder victim and his family.
Your Honor,
defense.
two things. First, as to Mr. Tanner's statement that she's available, I would request a deposition tonight. Let's do it.
Your Honor, she has been available to them since she was first listed as a witness back in January of 1991 with an appropriate address. The defense counsel wished to take her deposition, she could. They were also supplied with numerous discovery materials, Judge, which listed her as a witness and gave a synopsis of her testimony. They chose not to do so, Your Honor, because they hoped that what the court will do is simply not need to follow the law. We know that.
I object to that, Your Honor. Now,
Well, the jury, I mean, you don't have to.
well, yeah, but you know, you get.
Don't worry about the cameras. More of them have lights.
Forget the cameras, Judge.
You can just talk to me, explain.
Your Honor, Mr. Tanner, let me see if I can get it straight. Mr. Tanner indicated she's available for us to talk to now. I understood that to mean she's somewhere around where we could have access to her. Could we schedule a deposition tonight? Can the state assist us?
Yeah, I don't care what you do, but I had a hard time getting the phone, but I don't think the clerk's going to be available to you if you want. And from what I'm gathering, the lady might live in some county other than Volusia. If you'll be back here at 9:30, you can do whatever you want to in your off hours. But it's the objection about Mr. Tanner. The objection is sustained and bringing it.
Well, wait, Judge. We haven't gotten to
Hearsay.
We're still on the first
Hearsay. Well,
Let me just say in regards to Mr. DeMorse, we've been trying to find this lady for quite some time. If Your Honor would like, I can put our investigator, Mr. Sanchez, on the stand. We'll give you extensive efforts to try to find her.
But we both do that.
Her statement was provided to us 5 p.m. Friday afternoon.
I will proceed with the trial.
Then let's take up the evidentiary matter.
All right.
As Your Honor ruled on a similar issue when Mr. Tanner was doing direct testimony. He asked the detective whether the detective had information connecting Tyria Moore to the event. Your Honor recalls we objected. Your Honor overruled the objection and allowed that information to come in.
Right.
Allowing the detective to testify as to facts elicited during the course of his investigation and their consistency with what then transpired with regard to Ms. Wuornos' arrest and Ms. Moore, so on and so forth. Ms. Jenkins is attempting to do the exact same thing, to try to see if there is independent information that was gathered by the detective which was consistent with what Ms. Wuornos said, and then to see what efforts the detective took to see what that was all about. She's not trying to elicit hearsay, but the truth of the matter asserted in the statement is irrelevant. The point of the matter is whether the detective had information on that issue. That's what she's trying to elicit. She did not ask him, no, she did not ask him, by the way, what did Jacqueline Davis told you? She asked him, did you have information in category X? When he said that the statement would help him refresh his recollection, he got to read it. It was the detective who agreed with that to refresh recollection.
Based upon hearsay, is admissible. Therefore, the objection is sustained and proceed. It'll be great. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, in trying to ascertain what had happened to Mr. Mallory, you went into the Clearwater area, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And began to question people. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And during your investigation, you went to several nude bars, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Why was that?
It was advised that Mr. Mallory would frequent these particular establishments.
It also had something to do with his inclination towards pornography.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
ask that the question be stricken, Your Honor, jury instruction.
They heard that, I'll do that for we can correct it. I think it's pretty important in the event that it's necessary.
Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Isn't it a fact that my client told you when she was talking to you about what had happened, that Mr. Mallory talked to her about pornography and asked her if she was interested or knew people that were interested?
No, ma'am.
You don't recall that?
No, ma'am.
You, in fact, at one point arrested a nude dancer for the murder of Mr. Mallory, did you not?
Yes, ma'am.
Extradited her from, I believe it was Louisiana?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was a result of your investigation through the nude bars
That's correct.
and his inclination to spend time
Yes, ma'am.
with those individuals. Did you have information that Mr. Mallory became more paranoid or obsessed when he was drinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
He asked that, she could give us what, things he said. No eating.
Lee told you over and over, didn't she, that Mr. Mallory started getting violent with her?
No, ma'am.
Want to refer to page 21, second tape? Did she tell you that he got violent with her?
The question, Your Honor, was over and over again.
I will establish that.
I'm sorry, Judge, I withdraw it.
Page 21, tape 2.
Yes.
Where are you looking at, ma'am?
The very bottom.
Where she begins to state he got out of the car?
I'm sorry, we're talking about a struggle. Also, did you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. She also told you, refer to page 9, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see?
Excuse me, I have to object to the form of the question also. First of all, it's that she's acting as if there's a second now, and there wasn't even a first.
The officer answered yes. Do you want me to rephrase this?
Yes, ma'am. Excuse me.
Okay. Officer, on more than one occasion, my client indicated to you that Mr. Mallory became violent with her, didn't she? Would it refresh your recollection to look at the transcript, officer?
Yes, ma'am.
You can look at page 5, page 9. Also page 7, officer.
I don't see anything on page 5. I'm gonna look on 9.
I'm sorry, officer, that's page. page, it's marked out, page 7. And it would be the 5th line up, the large paragraph.
5th from the large paragraph?
No, 5th up from the bottom, I'm sorry. Beginning with Wuornos.
Yes, ma'am, I see it.
So she told you that he was getting violent with her, and he told you that on more than one time. Is that true, officer?
Yes, ma'am.
And she told you that he was coming after her.
Yes, ma'am.
And she told you that when he started to get violent, she decided to defend herself, didn't she? Page 7 of the transcript.
She had stated we were fighting a little bit, and I had my purse right on the passenger floor. Is that where you're...
And she says that he started to get violent with her. She decided to defend herself.
Now, Your Honor, it's really, that's not what it says.
We think you could have the record.
I'm sorry. It should be right. 7.
The section that I believe we're looking at is, she stated, then he started getting violent with me, so we're fighting a little bit, and I had my purse right on the passenger floor. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And you've already agreed that he told her that she told you that he was coming after her. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that's what you told him.
And that he came after her again after the first shot. Is that true?
May we have a reference again, Your Honor, to page?
Page 21, I'm sorry. This is the second tape.
At the bottom of page 21?
Yes, officer.
Yes, ma'am.
She told you that she warned Mr. Mallory to stop or she would keep shooting. Isn't that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Page, please.
Page 59. And isn't it a fact that she told you during that conversation with you that you had with her that she acted in self-defense?
Do you have the page for that, ma'am?
Well, do you recall throughout her conversation with you that she told you she had acted in self-defense?
During the time that she spoke to me, she never made a reference as to what Mr. Mallory was doing for the self-defense.
She told you he was getting violent with her and that he came after her.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, she made no specific mention of what was occurring. She said that he was violent, but then right on that same phrase, she says, we're fighting a little bit.
Okay, but as you go on, she says he was violent with her and she responded.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Testified on direct that what she told you was that she wasn't about to let anyone skip out on her money. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
In the same breath, she also said she wasn't about to let someone rape her, didn't she? It's page 6, if you want to refer to it.
Tape 1 or 2?
This will be the most recent one that we received. Page 6.
I have under page 6, tape 1, and I wasn't about to let somebody skip out of my money that I'm working for. Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
And she said,
And I think is very kind of clean.
and then the next sentence, I wasn't about to let somebody rape me either.
That isn't the next sentence, Your Honor. I mean, the witness responded, she's taking them out of context, it's not the next.
You can come back and read her that. You can come back and read her that.
Yes, sir, thanks.
Did she tell you when she was speaking to you that she wasn't going to let anybody rape her?
Yes, ma'am.
You have testified that she told different stories, is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
And in fact, she told you while she was talking to you, she was having trouble remembering. Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
She told you because she was drunk all the time. Do you recall that?
She was having trouble remembering that day. She had said that she had been drinking that night.
Okay. And at one point, she told you that she was an alcoholic, didn't she? She drinks 24 hours a day.
Do you have the page for that, ma'am?
Sure. Page 7 of the most recent transcript at the top of the page.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you recall that she told you that?
Yes, ma'am.
She's an alcoholic, she drinks 24 hours a day.
Yes, ma'am.
She also told you during the time that she was talking to you that men get rough with her and she has to defend herself. And she defended herself. Page 6, bottom of the page.
Bottom of page 6, I
Yes, Mr. Officer.
don't see that.
Tape 1, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am, I'm looking there. That's,
At the very bottom, let's see, it's the,
she speaks about something else there.
and then she says,
On my page 6 toward the bottom, it's where I testified what she told me about having 250,000 men. Is that the same page?
and then she says, that's okay, strike that. My client told you while she was talking to you that she didn't intend to kill anyone, didn't she?
Yes, ma'am.
She said that the killing wasn't intentional.
I need to be,
Page 47 transcript.
is it toward the top or bottom, ma'am?
Page 47, old transcript, second tape. Yes, I'm sorry, page 47, second tape, bottom of the page. She indicates to you that she didn't intend to kill anybody. Does she not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Officer, I have another question. You testified in direct examination from a map that was placed on the easel, and you made a little summary of that and the way that one would travel from one point to the next. When did you make that?
Several days ago.
Okay, that's how you would travel, is that right?
I took the most direct routes, the most major arteries that would be available.
Okay, so you don't know that that's how she travels, is that true?
No, ma'am.
I have just a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, please, for just a couple. I just want to only address those areas of the transcript Ms. Jenkins referred to. And first, I'd like you to look at transcript number 1, page 6.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like you to read that paragraph where she began a line or two below. The paragraph, or the portion she was reading from, begins, and I wasn't about to let somebody skip out on my money. Begin reading there and read to the end of the page. Page 6, transcript 1.
And
Are these the words of Aileen Wuornos, correct?
That's correct. And I wasn't about to let somebody skip out on my money that I'm working for, and I think is very kind of clean, because I use rubbers all the time. And I wasn't about to let somebody rape me either. So when they got really huffy with me, which, excuse me, which I had gone through.
Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, you can stop the word inaudible. Continue the word inaudible.
Which I had gone through over 250,000 men.
Now stop there. And begin with, so that's, I just want to clear this.
So that's, I just want to clear this. I want to get this all out in the open. I want to clear it, and I want to clear my girlfriend because she's not involved. She is very innocent.
Thank you. All right, look at transcript 1, number 7. Again, dealing with the rest of the statement which Ms. Jenkins referred to. And begin with, so I shot him. That's the bottom of page 7.
All right, sir. And read through where?
Yep, just that. So I shot him.
So I shot him, and then I
Your
thought...
Honor, I object. I didn't cite that in the transcript.
Yes, you did.
Page 7, the second tape.
Take off and look at it, we're here on the same wavelength there.
Second tape.
You indicated it was the second tape?
Second tape, yes.
All right. Let's go to the second tape, page 7. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
And this is where Ms. Jenkins asked you if he didn't say that she didn't say that he'd started to get violent. Would you read that entire statement, beginning with the doors are open?
Yes, sir. The doors are open, okay. So then he's getting really heavy, on me, and stuff. And I'm going like, now he's getting to where he just wants to just, unzip his pants, not take his pants off or anything. Just start having sex and stuff. And I said, well, why don't you just disrobe or something, I mean, why do you have to have your clothes still on? Then he started getting violent with me, so we're fighting a little bit, and I had my purse right on the passenger floor.
All right, sir, thank you. And finally, was it second transcript, page 21, Ms. Jenkins? I don't want to get in the wrong transcript.
I think so. I'm trying to get my notes.
All right. And begin with 21, where I shot him in the side, and just read to the end of the page, and that deals where she talked about what she talked about.
All right. Ms. Wuornos says, I shot him in the side. I stated okay. Ms. Wuornos says, and then he got out of the car. I then replied, he was behind the steering wheel. Ms. Wuornos says, right. And I advised, okay. Ms. Wuornos says, he got out of the car, and then he was coming toward me, and I shot him again, I think in the stomach.
And she described how to finish the sentence. Was it not finished? I shot him again, I think, in the stomach. Okay, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. It continues.
I'll start with the last line again. He got out of the car and then he was coming toward me and I shot him again, I think in the stomach or in the chest or somewhere around that area.
Continue.
Then he fell to the ground and then I took, no wait, when he fell to the ground and then I think, because I was so drunk, I'm not sure, but I think if I remember right, I just kept shooting him.
After he fell on the ground.
But
No further questions, Your Honor.